Hello and welcome to episode number 10 of the 5-Star Pod Social, your daily lockdown podcast brought to you by us at WeStream FM and 5-Star Pod. Today we have a special guest host, me. Unfortunately, luckily you haven't got just listened to me. We've got some beautiful guests as well. We're joined by Joe. Joe, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. You all right?
Yeah, not bad, mate. Good to see you. Good to see you. And we have Matt.
Hello.
Hello, Matt. You're not going to banter me off like I banter you off on the 5-Star Pod normally?
No, because I'm
respectful.
I'm respectful because it's your first time in the host.
First and last, so that's all right. And we're also joined by Doctor Benjy. Ben, how are you, sir?
Hello, mate. Yeah, good. Looking forward to this. I've watched almost all of them, so you know I'm up on the format at least. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we don't need to ask you about movies because clearly Karate Kid's one of your favourite films.
Love it.
So
and any about Florence Nightingale as well. Any non-related films. Big fan of those at the moment.
Awesome. So obviously we have been in lockdown for 10 days now. So what was your initial thought when it was announced on the Saturday by Boris?
I thought it was too late, which that was a very sort of like waiting for it to happen moment. We've got a weird situation because I think Elle's sister normally lives with us but had left already. So she was planning to come back on the 7th of November. And then it was a case of, well, that probably isn't that smart at this point. She works in care, so it's like the commute she would have would be that much longer and things like that. So that was put on hold. And it basically means that we just can't see anyone, doesn't it? That's generally how it works. And when you've got a 10-week-old child, it's like 10-week-old child. I think the support of having everyone wanting to help is gone. So it was a little bit like, okay, we're on our own for a little bit here, which fortunately, I can imagine if it was like the first week of it, that would have been a lot more difficult, but things had relaxed. We were quite lucky, really, things had relaxed. But yeah, it's been a challenge, but like, again, because I expected it, I didn't feel like it hit me. Whereas the first one was a little bit like, I felt similar to the first one, actually. I thought that was the case of, when's that going to happen? Because we like, it was the sort of thing, we'd arranged to go to the zoo, and I was like, I don't think we should go. Elle was a few months pregnant. It was like, I don't think we should go. And then a week later, they put us into lockdown. So I think when you can kind of preempt it, you don't feel quite as surprised by it, and then it doesn't put you in an awkward position. So I felt we were a bit lucky in that sense.
Do you feel any different? Sorry, dude.
That's
Do you
right.
feel any different about it this second time? Obviously, now that Dougie's born.
Yeah, I'm from a selfish perspective of me, I feel really fortunate that Football Manager's just come out, and I've got a huge focus of this is my day every day. So, and I think it's more difficult for Elle, who then can't go and see family, can't sit in a garden with the family, can't sit in a house with the family and whatnot. So it's a lot tougher for her. I was disappointed the first time it happened because I felt like I don't think it was unavoidable, but I think the steps that were taken, don't want to go too political, but I think some of the steps that were taken were too late. And I feel like the same thing happened this time around, and now I'm more angry because now it feels more like incompetence. Whereas before, they sort of got away with it because it was like, well, no one really knows what's going on. Whereas they've been able to use models around the world, and they've chosen this one, and this one's shit. So we seem to be back in this scenario now where no one really knows where they stand. There's always constant questions being asked. And now as a parent, I worry about the fact that he's interacted with one other child in 10 weeks. And it's just a case of, when will that happen again? And not knowing that, and feeling that that's probably quite important for a young child. And yeah, so now I'm more angry about it than I was the first time.
It's incredibly difficult. I mean, for me, when I had my first child, it was normal bounds. It was absolutely fine. I had the support network, and it was brilliant. When we then had the second child, and that support network really needed to step up, and they did. It was crucial for that, and obviously yourself and Joe's obviously had the second. Like, it must be difficult for both of you two to not have those support networks to lean upon during this lockdown.
Yeah, it's again because we could kind of preempt it. We sort of had those few days. Stupid, isn't it? You have those few days where you all interact because you think this is the last chance we're going to have for a month as a minimum. And I'm fortunate that I live in a part of the country that probably won't be as affected by COVID as some of the north of England or London or whatever else. So if they do like this tiered system out of lockdown, which is what I think they'll probably do, my area in Norfolk will probably be one of the first to go. We don't have a motorway, so no one comes here by accident. Do you know what I mean? Like you come to Norfolk for a few days normally because it's a nightmare, especially if I've got a desk that needs building.
Or walls that need decorating.
Or walls that need decorating. That's a week job. That's a week-long job.
When's the nursery need painting? Because Matt could
Oh well, as soon as we move house, but
He's already
again,
done.
that's yeah, but Matt's bringing it, I heard. But no, it's a case of like we were gonna. The plan was to move out like either like around now or at least early next year, and that's the sort of thing that is just on hold because not only do people just not think about moving right now. There's not that many places on the market at the moment. Places that are on the market, you have to be particularly picky. I don't know what's going to happen with prices in the next 12 months. Like there's so many things like that to worry about. What was the initial question, Dupe? Sorry, I'm just thinking about all the things that I've got going on now. I was like, oh, God.
No, I wanted to kind of peel back the layers of like with the lack of support. Do you feel that?
Oh, yeah, sorry,
you feel that you've been kind of hung out to dry, so to speak, because the fact that you don't have those close to you, or
when I said I was angry, I'm not angry with the decision to go into lockdown. Like I kind of support that, but I'm angry that it's got to this point, and the fact that we're without that. I'm fortunate that I work from home. So if Elle really needs me, I don't have to stream for an afternoon. I don't have to make a video immediately. With that situation literally happened like yesterday, where it was a case of he was being a bit restless. He wasn't really selling. I could afford to just sort of be there on call if I need to be and things like that. And that makes life a lot easier. I don't know how other people do it. Like the appreciation I've got for single mums so all of a sudden in the last 10 weeks is unbelievable. I don't know how people, single parents even, that mums or otherwise, like I don't know how people do that. Like the challenges that must bring. Wow, I can't even imagine it. That's how far removed I feel from that.
It's crazy. I mean, imagine my wife. She's like a single mum because I'm constantly I'm either at work or streaming or doing podcasts.
She's more like a single mum to three.
Yeah, to be fair, she looks after me more than anything. Yeah, it's absolutely. I mean, I agree. I mean, it's crazy how these people can just be so heroic and just get on with what they do and do what they do and have to bring up a baby or a herd of them. You know, it's remarkable. It really is. Do you think there's anything that you need to change from lockdown 1 to lockdown 2 to kind of ensure your mental well-being and the way that you feel?
It's difficult. I was talking to Elle about it before I started recording. I'm frustrated this time around because just as lockdown was going, just as we were going into the first lockdown, I'd lost about 1.5 stone, maybe close to 2. I was going to play badminton on a regular basis. I was eating really well. As soon as lockdown came about, Ellie was home, pregnant, eating 6 times a day. it was like she was on sort of one of those diets. And then every time she's having a cup of tea and a biscuit or whatever, she's like, "Do you want one?" I'm like, "Yeah, go on then." And then all of a sudden, I'm streaming every day. So I had this routine that suddenly was completely locked in. And because I decided that streaming was going to be a major part of my day at that point, I was doing 4 or 5 hours of that. I was doing 2 videos every single day. Like I was strictly in a routine, which on one level was great because the distraction that gave me was huge. But the impacts that had on my physical health was just like, I'm frustrated now because I said to Elle, I said, when he was born, I wasn't supposed to look like this. And it's worse. And I feel really frustrated by that. And that's something that I've not dealt with very well, especially in the last couple of months, where I feel like, I knew this was coming and I'm still not really doing enough about it. And the worst bit is that I'm conscious of it. So then I feel like I know it's my responsibility already, but then I feel bad about it. And that's the bit that then brings you down. And then you're looking for other focuses, and then you think, I'll just deal with that in a few months. And then you get to that period. So like I had a thought to myself, I'll just deal with that in September. And I get to November and think, oh fuck, I didn't deal with that at all. What am I doing? What sort of dodge was that? It's crazy.
Thing is, I'm exactly the same, and I put the excuses in the way. Like you get the usual sort of like Facebook memories or things like that to remind you of like periods in your life. And there was like 5 years ago, I was running half marathons, and now I probably struggle to walk.
Now you're eating a whole one.
Now I'm eating a whole one. I'm probably eating a whole fucking packet. And it's like completely changed. And some of it's my fault. Some of it isn't necessarily. It's like the back injuries kind of fucked me over it. I completely empathise with you feeling like that because it feels like out of your control, but not. But equally, I feel like every day, you look in the mirror or you look at you look at the clothes, you've had to go up a few sizes or whatever. Things have changed, and it's I guess some people will say, oh, it's quite more of a feminine thing to focus on, but I don't think it is at all. I think men are just as, it's just because men don't focus on it and speak about it, but my weight bothers me more than anything. And whilst it comes to a point when I can sort of, I'd say accept it. I can accept it for a while and I think, what the fuck are you doing? Like, I could have changed this.
Do you have that night, Matt? Do you have that night every few months where you go, what the fuck is my life? What am I doing?
I'd probably have it once a week. And then the next day you go and open a packet of whatever chocolate is in the fridge. And it's just like, why am I continuing to do this cycle each time? And I don't think lockdown helps with that necessarily. But it's that element has really, it's compounded things. And each time you get to that point, you think, I need to sort this out. And then I get, I mean, on showdown weeks, I lose about £5, maybe more, because I just don't.
Unless we're sponsored by KFC.
That's the new diet, the showdown diet. Don't do anything. Do 5 hours of broadcasting and see how you do.
But I tend to, I don't know if it's through sort of stress or whatever, I tend to lose a bit. I think, right, that's a good starting point, let's carry it on, and then gradually it comes back on. And I'm inconsistent with anything, as most people probably know, and I keep on using the excuse of, oh, you can't go running anymore, as the crutch to blame, and it fucks me off that I'm still using that. And I could just say, I need to go for a walk, and it's one of those things. I don't have time to go for a walk. You fucking do, you lady. Sorry, dude, work for you there, but
Deep.
You said chicken, KFC reference. It was
got
fine.
pen and paper. I'll have to listen to the whole thing now, Matt. Cheers.
You're welcome, sir.
I'm gonna just have to sit here and agree. I mean, I've come out of this year with a positive. I'm not gonna lie. Today marks 175 days that I've not touched a cigarette. So to me, I think it's a win. The other side of that, though, is the fact that I'm probably the biggest I've ever been, and even though I had a little spell of being in the little gym freak again, I'm still massive. And it's quite easy to kind of deceive a lot of people when you do streaming and when you do this stuff, because you see from my shoulders up, right? You can't see the fact that literally my legs look like they could tow a fucking horse. Honestly, it's just crazy. And the thing is that frustrates me the most is there's only one person that can change it, and it's me, and I know that. And I'll do something. I'll have a really good day, and then it's just like, well, I'll just nibble this, nibble that, and then I'll sit there and I go, like, what? That literally undoes all of my hard work. I've had a good day.
I'll reward myself with 8 chocolate bars.
Yeah, peanut M&Ms. They're just there. But it's just like the thing that frustrates me, or the thing that deceives me the most, is I've done it before. I jumped out the plane.
I was going to say,
I lost all that weight. I got into the gym. I got into my eating. I pissed everybody off. I upset some people, but I did it, and I know I can do it.
In Norway, who gives a fuck?
True. But like for me, it's just I think it's that little thing in the back of my head that goes, it's fine because you can do it. You've done it before. You'll do it again. But then what happens when you can't do it? And what happens when you don't get the results you expect to get? Because that was 2 years ago. I was 2 years younger, probably 2 stone heavier now, and it's just tremendously frustrating. And I think one thing that's going to come out of this is, like you said, it's just far too easy in this current climate just to go and grab something quick, easy, that's not healthy. We had the time when myself and we had a test with my little boy, and we were locked in for 5 days. We couldn't get a shopping order. We had to get people to go pick stuff up for us. We had to get deliveries. Do you know what they deliver around by me? Pizza, burgers, chips. That's all they deliver.
Yeah.
You can't even if you wanted to, you couldn't do it. So it's incredibly
Just Eat
frustrating.
was shit now.
Sorry?
I thought your Just Eat was shit now.
Yeah, it is shit, mate. I mean, I get 3 restaurants to deliver to me. That's it.
He has to walk to the chip shop now.
Yeah. I know. Well, I mean, at least that's a healthy option, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've burned 4 calories walking, and it's just I think the thing is with streaming and with YouTube, I think a lot of people just jump to conclusion because you're this happy person with a big smile every time that you go live or every time you make a video, but it's sometimes a lot easier to put a smile on than it is to talk about these things, which is why I think this podcast is great. I think it kind of, like I said, it does peel back, and it does actually, I think personally, my wife watches these and she says she's seen a different person from day one to now, because she'll ask me what's wrong, And I feel that actually me chatting to you guys, I can actually open up a lot more to her and to others. And I think that relationships with family and friends are massive, especially during the lockdown. We need to make sure that we keep them together. Do you think that the impact on those relationships and those tight-knit bonds, especially with having the little one, so little, do you think that's going to take a massive factor on lockdown, or do you feel you see them more due to the FaceTime and through the window, etc., etc.?
I think we're fortunate. All our like direct family live close, so it's a case of if they want to pop round, then they could have popped round. My mum and dad live 10 minutes away. Elle's mum lives half an hour away. Dad 40 minutes away, but close enough, right? That when you've got a new grandson, you'll make time. You'll make the time to come see him. The honest answer is I don't know how different it would have been, right? Like this becomes the new normal for us. So and you got to treat it like that. You can't try and make it out of like a bigger thing than it is. Almost, you got to not hide it from him. He's too young to even know. It doesn't make a difference. But we have to try and be what we would be if everything was the same. And I think we're doing a pretty good job at that. Like I think we found it. There's elements that we found easier than we thought we would, and there's elements that we found tougher than we thought we would. And I think on the balance of things, it's gone pretty well. I think we can be proud of that. And I'm pleased that I've been able to just distract myself from work enough. Like I say, distract myself. I took 2 months off basically of doing anything, just so I could be on hand if she needed me to be, because I'm fortunate to be in that position of having a job which I control basically. And there's two sides of that, right? There's one that's to say, oh, you're very lucky, but there's also the side to say, I put myself in that position. So like, and I knew if I was able to have children that I'd be in this position, like, and that was always to a degree part of the plan, provided it went well. Otherwise, it would have been a mess. So, as far as he's concerned, I'd like to think he's living his best life. You know, he's giggling, being sick, drinking, being sick, sleeping. He's loving it, and he's massive as well. You said little one, he's huge. But to say whether it would be different if family would be here more or less, whether we'd be seeing him more or less, I really don't know. Which I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, right? Like Joe, you're probably better placed, right? Because you've had both situations.
I mean, my missus is an absolute legend.
He's only said
Elle's good as well, by the way. Let me just say, yeah, Elle's great as well.
Yeah.
So,
she does listen, and she knows that I think that anyway, because I have no idea how she has, I don't know, the energy to do everything she does every day, and it's like so repetitive, but she just does it because it's the right thing to do. I've not got that mentality. She's brilliant for it, and obviously she was recovering from having a C-section, and I was working. So Ted, he's gone to his nan's, and I was just saying to her this morning, like, my daughter's 4 weeks old tomorrow, and I've seen Ted probably about, I don't know, 5 or 6 days out of that 4 weeks because he's been with his nan. Just because like she needed the time to recover. So he's actually, at some point, he will probably burst through this door because they're coming back tonight. So he'll probably come and join us on stream. It's his birthday tomorrow. So, it's I don't know how they do it. But I just want to go back to something that you three were saying about energy to go out and do stuff. Like, you three are actually 3 very motivated people. You need to, like with Matt, he's saying about the showdown, losing £5 on showdown week. It's because it's the best thing that has happened to you probably in like the last 2 or 3 years. And I've said this to him kind of privately as well, that he's actually got something to get his teeth into that he enjoys doing. So what you need to do is if obviously you don't want to do it as stress, because that will obviously bollocks you, but try and put into that drive that you have for that. Like you say, going for a walk, go and chase the fucking dustman that you don't like. You know, follow the bin men around the corner. just literally walk after him. You know, and like with Dupe, you know, when he goes and does his fucking gym fitness bollocks and posts it all over the internet, like he actually loves doing it, and like all his meal prep and stuff like that. Like he's got the dedication to do it, so he can do it. It's people always fall into doing what's easy rather than right. So you just have to kind of do that. And like Ben, like obviously you haven't become, and I don't want to say the biggest Twitch streamer because like, that's what we're talking about, but you are the biggest Foot Manager Twitch streamer.
So
and
I'm conscious about my weight, mate. So that's
yeah, it's right, but I'm talking about the bigger picture.
I appreciate that.
But you are, and you haven't got there because you haven't put hard work in. So you can put hard work in, grinding, and grinding is a horrible word to say with your work, but you do, like you say, you put you'd be streaming 5 hours a day, you'll be doing 2 videos, you're putting the work in. So there's nothing saying that you haven't got the motivation to do what you need to do. So the motivation's there. You've just got to find what clicks in your mind to go, I need to add going for a walk or trying to play badminton, which I know is obviously difficult at the moment, but it's the want to do it. And I think you've all got motivation because you're all motivated when you do what you want to do. So I think if you can just find something that can click into adding that extra bit, you've all got the mindset to do it. It's just finding that way to include it into what you're doing every day.
I think that's why I'm so frustrated, because I felt like I got it, and it's easy to sit here now and go, yeah, sure you did, but I really felt like I had it, and then to just have it ripped away a little bit was just like, oh, and then you change your priorities.
Use this excuse, don't you?
Oh yeah,
I was doing that, and I'll do it again. I've been doing that since I was 30. Like, next year I'll be. This is what I'll be doing. Doesn't happen. You just got to find a way to do it.
Yeah, so I've been to, again, I sound ridiculous now, but I've been to badminton, and I did it, and I thought I was so bad, and so like compared to what I was when I was 20, right, when I last played, when I was fit as a fiddle, really, I thought, do you know what? I can't wait to like just go again, and it was that week. The person I played with had a COVID test, a negative COVID test that week, so it was like that week of the first like tests going out and things like that. And then you're right, it becomes a bit.
I will drive to you to play badminton.
Snap.
I love badminton. Do you know the problem I've got? I've got no one to play badminton with.
I'm the same, mate. I've literally contacted old school friend that I'd not spoke to for like 8 years. I was like, I know he's a bit of a bigger lad as well. I was like, mate, do you want to play badminton? He was like, yeah, I'm up for it. I was like, oh, lovely stuff. Let's go.
Are we just confirming that the Streamer Showdown is now being played as a badminton tournament, yes?
As long as it's not filmed, I'm fully in, yeah.
One thing I will say, Ben, to be honest, and again, this is a little bit because of your job, not COVID, but I think for you need to take the positive of being able to spend so much time with your little one, because when I had my first and when I had my second, there was a lot of complications with the second, and I'm at work because my work was there and it's not at home, and I think there's so much you can take from being able to be so involved and in round. And I mean, you've probably done more in the 8 weeks than I did in the first 6 years. Sorry, love. But and you're very lucky to have that. But again, as you said, you did build that yourself, and I'm not taking that away from you. But
I don't take it for granted. To be clear, I said to Elle, like I said, I went through that 2 month period where, because it felt like, I don't want to go too deep, it felt like when I was in the midst of my depression state, in like when I was 22, 23, and my friend described it to me once as it's like everything is grey. And I said to her, for the last 2 months, it's felt like everything's great. And as soon as I enter a room that you two are in, everything brightens up. Yeah. Every single time. But as soon as I walk out, gone again. So I'm fully aware of how, like, I'm so grateful for the fact I've had the time to spend with both of them, to be there when I can be there. And I certainly take the positives from that. But I found a way to cut it in half almost. Unfortunately, hopefully everything will start to be brighter again, right? Because suddenly we're doing stuff regularly. I'm doing stuff every single day. I'm in a routine again. And if I can find that, I think I'll be okay. But man, that 2 month period where I thought everything was going to be fine was so tough. So much change, and then so much isolation, but not productive isolation was really, really, really challenging.
It's crazy how much brighter it does get. Like, I mean, I'm going through a tough stage at work at the moment. We've got a lot of audits, and we're a man down, so I'm trying to do all this stuff with COVID as well. It's brutal. But the minute I walk through that door, and I put my work boots in the bottom of the drawer, I then open the next door, and there he is. And my little man just runs up to me, grabs me, "How's your day, Daddy?" And all this, and literally you forget everything at the door, and it's amazing how bright that becomes. And again with the little man, so the little man's now kind of like walking, and he's stumbling. But ever since he was a little one, I've always done the chin waggle, right, which is a little thing that I do, that I literally put my 2 fingers under his chin and I just make his chin vibrate. Right? And whenever he was crying, he would just go like this, right? And he loves it. The minute I do it, he's just giggling, cackling, and he'll bury his head into my shoulder, and then he'll lift his head up and put his chin like this for me to do it again. And it's just little things like that I will.
I do that with Proudy. Well, actually, Proudy.
I was going to say I didn't know Curtie lived with you.
And it's amazing what literally, like, the laugh of a child, or your child, I should probably say, can do for your mood, to everything. and you can be worried about anything, and they make it so much better. Honest to God, they really do. As much as they're a pain in the fucking ass, and they scream and they try and get up into your office and all that jazz. They honestly just, I wouldn't change it for the world. I really wouldn't.
No, he's not quite laughing yet, but he's got a smile that I can quite enjoy every single time. Every time we smile at him, he smiles back. And it's one hell of a feeling.
Yeah,
when you both got wind.
And then you just blame it on him. He's terrible. You wouldn't believe what he's just done here. 4 times. Can you believe it?
You're feeding him.
So you touched upon your stage and your battles that you've had in the past. I mean, us men, we have a habit of not being able to reach out and discuss things. I mean, it's a bit different here, but would you, if you needed to, if you could recognise the signs, if you were struggling, would you have a support network that you'd need to talk, you could talk to?
I would tell Elle, and probably to her credit, she would usually find the right thing to do or the right thing to say.
It's amazing how they know that, right?
But she was with me sort of when I was going through my first period of it, and then stuck with me the whole way through. So she sees it on probably before I see it most of the time. So when I then tell her, she sort of gives this a look of, oh, okay, yeah. Or, why didn't you tell me sooner? And I'm thinking, I'm telling you as soon as I can. Like, it's one of those things. Rarely do I reach. I don't tweet about it. You'll never find me tweeting about it until I'm near the back end of it. Because I tweeted about it recently, but that was when I felt like I'd gone through it almost, and I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, that sort of thing. But ordinarily, I wouldn't talk about it with people that I know, because it's still that thing of not wanting to be a burden, and also wanting to get out of it myself. Like Joe mentioned the motivation thing, like I look to that for everything else. I think I got myself out of that depression, and I use that to fuel everything. Not everything else, as we talked about, but most things I'll use that as fuel. So I put it on myself. I put a pressure on myself to get myself out of it, and I think I have talked about it with people, and I've discussed it with certain people. But I realised, and you said it before, Deep, that I felt like I was responsible for it. Whether that was right or wrong, I put the pressure on myself to be the guy to get out of it, and did the first time. And sure, I have days and weeks, and I've done bits on my channel. So sorry if you sound like I'm repeating myself, but that I realised that having a bad day doesn't mean I've got a bad life. It just means that I'm having a shit week or a shit day, and everyone's allowed that. Do you know, you're allowed to have a day where you don't feel yourself. Like, it doesn't mean that it leads to worse things. You don't have to make sure every day is the best day ever. It's not realistic. Like, it's never going to happen. But you have to make sure that when you've had a bad day, you can sit down at the end of it and go, tomorrow will be better. And that's what I've tried to do throughout the last sort of 5 or 6 years. And using Football Manager and using content and whatnot has been like the driving force behind that. And now I've got a new force to drive behind, which is a newborn son, right? So I don't want to use that as motivation, but I think I have to some degree, right? I have to look at him and think, it's not just for me and Elle anymore. This is for us. Like, I look at my family now and think, shit a brick. This is real. Like, it's all well and good me and Elle messing about, being sort of a young couple in love, becoming 30 and now thinking this is the real world. And taking those battles one day at a time and beating them is how I feel like I personally overcome it, rather than talking about it with lots of people. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's very much touched upon with me with the troubles that I had with my little one. And I spoke privately to a lot of people. I didn't kind of go out too loud, but it like you said, putting the onus on yourself, that's almost what drove me deeper. I mean, for me, with everything that was going on, I felt, because I was, it's an awful stereotype, because I was the man of the house, I felt that I have to be strong. I can't show emotion. I've got a lockdown, and I've just got to kind of get through. And then it wasn't until kind of, like you said, we were kind of to the back end of it, and then it just hit me with it like a bus, and I just felt like I could sneeze and I could cry. Do you know what I mean? It was literally to that point, and that to me is where sometimes you don't have to try and be the big man and try and take everything on your shoulders. That there is people out there that will help and support, and I wish that I did that, to be honest, because I didn't. I just locked down. I didn't take help from anyone. I didn't take advice from anyone. I just focused on trying to do what I had to do, and like you said, when kids are involved, I mean, Joe, yourself, it's amazing the switch that can switch in you for. You can do anything for that kid. I'd run through brick walls, and I wouldn't doubt that both of you two would. I think Matt would run through brick walls for my boy, because he literally bullies Matt all the time. When Matt come around, he literally just wouldn't leave us alone, and it's just amazing what these kids are, and the motivation that they can do, Ben. It's nuts, and I mean, Joe's
It's funny, you mentioned being on the. I'll come to Joe, but I feel like that this 2-month period that I keep going on about, that was it. I thought every day I could just go, I could break, I could cry there and then at any moment, and I think it was just an emotion overload of having a newborn and thinking, our life is so different. Like I had it early in the pregnancy. Actually, I had a moment where me and her were in the kitchen, and I was like, it's not just going to be us. Like 11 years together is a long time to be together without, like these days, without having a child, or without having your own house. It feels like the change of bringing someone else into that dynamic and it not just being those two people. Oh, that day I couldn't do anything. I was like, I was just a mess. And any time I spoke to anybody, I was just like, it's going to be different. And eventually, a few months later, I was like, okay, yeah, I can talk about that now. But even now, I feel I can feel it in me of like, oh man, it's different now. And he's on the other side of this wall. And if I went in and saw him, I'd have the biggest smile on my face. But
it's a permanent responsibility, mate. It's a permanent responsibility. But wait till you don't have them in the house.
Yeah.
Then it feels even stranger.
No, me and Elle dropped him off at my mum's to go do the shopping, and you're driving away as we always would have done from Mum and Dad's, thinking, oh, what? Like, yeah, it was the weirdest feeling. The first time we'd done it, it was just like, this isn't what it's meant to be like anymore. And it didn't even feel normal. And we'd done it for 11 years. It was just, bizarre, absolutely bizarre.
It's how quick you can forget the rest to, like you said, 8 weeks. Like now, the 8 weeks seems normal. I mean, I remember having a couple of tough days and literally getting in the car to drive to work, go to work and kind of get in the car in the car park, turn the ignition on, I go, so that tells me I've got 435 miles. Where could I go? Like, and genuinely, that was the mindset. Let's just go. You could get in the car's full. Let's just keep driving and see where you end up. But I mean, as we know, you got to face them. You can't do that. But you know, it's
can't drive.
Oh, okay. I was going to say
you play Grand Theft Auto, you'll be fine, mate.
I've played GTA. That's true. I've played golf. You know what I mean? I've driven a golf buggy around.
But it's truly nuts what kids can do and change your mindset. Well, I think we kind of went a little bit deep there. That was quite nice. That was good.
I'm on edge here.
You're on edge.
Yeah. No, it's good.
We push you a bit more.
I can't.
Cry.
Well,
no.
I'll come up for episode 28 when I'm completely down. I'm gone.
Tremendous.
Completely broken.
We'll meet you there. So let's move slightly away from that. You were talking to us before the pod about how you're a massive reader. Do you recommend can you recommend any books to us, Ben? That we to read through the lockdown?
Big time. The best thing is I've got a book. I look at that shelf there of books, never been read. The only things that you get used on there is talcum powder and a New York Rangers cap.
I don't want to know about your sexual fantasies, Ben.
Well, you should see. There was a plunger on there as well. The plunger's gone for some reason. Anyway, the last book I read, weirdly enough, was like fully, completely read it. But I was thinking about this actually. I know why I don't read. I don't commute anywhere. I don't listen to as many podcasts either. Yeah. So, and that's the time when I would have done. If I was on a bus or I was walking to college or whatever else, but in my younger years, that's when I would consume it. And because I'm not in that space anymore, and the internet has got loads of stuff on it, like I don't ever find myself needing to read anything. I'll watch a YouTube video, I'll watch a stream, like I'll pop that on, or I'll read articles on Reddit. Like I'll spend an hour just browsing through that. So. Yeah, as much as I'll read lots of things, but a book specifically is not something I'll turn to anymore.
Not even Spencer Owen's book? You've referenced that in a few Streamer Showdowns, which we'll get onto later, but...
I was hoping I had it to hand, but I don't. But no, that's a great read. And actually, to be fair, I did actually read that.
It's propping your desk up.
It's propping your desk up.
Hang on. It was close by. I like
to always have it close. That pile of cash.
It's like my Bible, Joe. So every time I'm in trouble, I'll turn to that. I'll go, right, FIFA player. Oh, yes, those are the days.
Did you see his little rap he did? Because he did a little FIFA player rap.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. Man of many talents. Joe, any books today? You've normally got some great books to recommend. If not, just repeat yesterday's because I didn't see it.
I was going to say, are you going to run out of books?
Well, actually, you say that. We could do like a live unboxing. Because this arrived today, which Shah refers to as one of those expensive magazines.
Oh, Scout Football.
So...
Oh, let me see the front cover. Scout Football. These are tremendous. Oh, look at that.
Big fan.
The artwork, the sticker. Do they give you one? Because if you DM them, they give you a couple. I'm waiting for my Twitch payout to order it.
They are having it off, mate. I saw a picture of their warehouse the other day. They are having it off.
Scout of Football, honest to God, I've got them all down there.
Little Twitter thread with Football Manager, and they bang now.
Yeah.
Oh yes, lovely. Oh,
The smell. Put it to your nose. Smell it, Joe.
weird flex, but okay.
It's great. If you've never read them, have a little look. They're very good. They're very good. They're very good. Matt.
Bit political.
Oh.
It's a bit
Okay.
political.
Good.
I wouldn't say it's political. It's more care.
As for middle-class white guys, what do we think about it?
Yes.
Now?
I shouldn't say this, but it looks like Eddie and Ketcher. Now I'm kind of wondering, is this like a play on stickers here? I need
They
to
haven't
read
done
it
an
and find
Catcher
out.
one. They've done a Victor Osimhen one, which I have.
Eddie and Ketcher was in it, wasn't he?
I don't think we've had
I'm sure
an
he's in
Eddie and
one of
Catcher sticker.
No, not.
Sorry,
sticker.
for someone that doesn't know what you boys are talking about in terms of this like product, what is the
So
product?
Scoured Football is where Joe gets all his knowledge from. Honestly, well, not all of it, some
Okay.
of it. Look at his face. So it
Not my
basically,
streams. Wow.
No, not your streams. Just FYI, not your streams, because he doesn't think about signing Akinfenwa.
For Liverpool?
Yes, I watched.
Why not?
Yeah.
Great. Good acquisition.
He knows I watch. He knows I watch.
Yeah. When do you normally watch, Joe?
Lurk. To be fair, at the moment I'm watching the videos because
I
the
thought you were gonna
Doctor
say-
music
Mate.
gets me.
They're as big a shambles as the streams at the moment.
I thought you were going to say 1 till 5 every day, live over on Twitch. 11 actually, isn't it? You go a bit
Definitely
earlier.
Link in the description. So, is that?
To be fair, I'm
get a
doing the link. I'm
notification.
doing the description today. There's every chance there won't be.
Oh, okay.
Catch Ben here at www.twitch.tv/dupe.
Oh,
So
well.
to answer your question, and I
In the
did say
chat.
this on a previous pod. Oh, look, how weird. Maybe it is. Hang on.
Is it Eddie and Catcher at the back?
Eddie
Yeah, yeah.
Ketcher.
Yeah.
Oh.
So basically, it's scouted football. It's normally kind of like what we'd class as wonder kids. So, and they'll just profile kind of the young up and coming players from around the world, really.
Oh,
And it's just like it's normally, I think it's a quarterly kind of magazine handbook thing.
right.
But
Okay.
it's just good. It's just nice. Looks good on a coffee table.
Yeah.
Is it expensive?
No, I wouldn't.
Compared to what? If you said it's a tenner.
But
I
it's
kind
a
of think
quarter.
these guys started out.
So it's what, 10 every 4 months or whatever it is?
Yeah.
And I look at
3
things like that. Like I really like these Football Times.
Yeah. The
Like
artwork
they
this
do
week's
some
month
they do
was
some
lovely.
great. The PSV one's lovely.
Yeah.
But I think these guys, a lot of them, very much like you guys when you're doing content creation, they're starting out on their own. They've had
Yeah.
like an idea. I like supporting people like that. You know, it isn't like a big kind of corporation. Like as I say, I watched on their Instagram the other day. They literally have got like it's a lockup where they've got like all these magazines and everything, and they're packaging them up themselves and getting them sent out.
Yeah.
Much like Matt when he has to pack the sweets up to send them out,
Tremendous. I mean,
IKEA
I only
bags
ever
required.
got
or
involved.
doing M&S style slow mo video.
I only ever got involved.
I know that was you, Matt.
That was maybe no. Actually, the dropping one, of the
Yeah.
things that was all her.
Yeah,
Nothing to do with me.
yeah.
Or her. Fair play. You brought a tea up today, Matt. Normally brings a tea up about now.
Oh no, I said I didn't want one.
Oh,
so-
okay, good man. To be fair, I only ever got involved with the Scout of Football was when you sent me the Victor Osimhen sticker. Fun fact, Ben, that sticker's been to New York. Have you?
That's it. Have I? Good question. Yes.
There he is. Look.
Yes.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'd
Matt.
say about a recommendation.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I've mentioned inverting the pyramid before, which would be my book recommendation. But as Joe's mentioned, scouted football. If you want something a bit more, I guess, mainstream, would be getting a subscription to The Athletic, because for not a lot
Because
of money,
Matt loves Joe Devine.
he loves me. Get it right.
And if you nerd at checkout, you get what, Matt?
No, honestly,
Free KFC token these days.
There
Set
probably
up that
is. There probably is a code somewhere that you can get where you can get it for like 12 months for
Well-
£1 a month or something. But it's absolutely worth it.
Normally, listen to Tifo podcast, and they've normally got a code on there to
Yeah.
get discount.
Oh, we'll link that in the chat, in the description. Good
If you
recommendation. I've got something to recommend reading. It kind of touched upon earlier. It's this new book. It's basically just the ingredients to this at the back. And the calorie counts. I like reading them. No, I'm hosting. I haven't got any books to read today. I'm reading the script. Ben, Netflix, Amazon Prime, Apple, Disney Plus. Now you're a father. Maybe that's the way you go. Got anything you want to recommend?
I've watched Hamilton at least 12 times since lockdown started. So
Lewis?
I mean, now as in the musical.
I didn't know that.
Alexander Hamilton. It's very good. It's on Disney Plus. It's the Broadway show actually, with like the top dogs who did it in like 2016. Very good. Definitely recommend that. Just very quickly on books. The last book I read like properly footballers book was Latan's, which I don't know if he wrote. I get the sense he probably didn't. No. But it is quite. I don't know if you guys have read any of it.
It's very Zlatan, isn't it?
Yeah, he spends a lot of time slagging off Louis van Gaal and Pep, and how much he loves Maxwell, the left back. It's great. It's really quite wonderful. But yeah, other than that, I'll be honest, boys, you've picked up. Actually, no, The Boys. Does anyone reference The Boys?
Boys is very good.
I think Jack might have mentioned it. Yeah, I've not quite finished season 2, but I watched The Boys recently. This is a bad week, isn't it, to ask me about what I watch on Netflix? Because right now, I've sort of canned everything so I can focus on what I'm doing. I don't know. In terms of like daily watches, though, I watch Philip DeFranco's stuff on YouTube pretty much daily. Other than that, it's just sort of as and when, right? I don't really focus on anything at the moment.
I'm going through the whole back catalogue of Hot Wings at the moment. Hot Ones.
Actually, do you know what? That reminds me. We have been watching something. Me and Elle have been watching something on Netflix. It's like the big barbecue cookout.
That is amazing.
Tremendous work.
We watched all of that in like a weekend.
Has no one mentioned that yet?
No,
I love that.
It
was on my
amazing.
list for episode 14.
It's ridiculous. It's the most ridiculous program.
It's so American, but equally amazing.
Every episode is the exact same, and I can't get enough.
Yeah.
Every episode is we're going to smoke something. Not literally smoke, as in how are we going to do it? We're going to do it like this. I've never done this before. And then it's always brilliant every single time. Oh, it tastes good. And then one guy goes, I could cook this in my sleep. Always get sent home. Dreadful every single time.
To add some more context, it's basically the British Bake Off.
Yes, I was going to say
with
exactly the same thing.
It's a very American barbecue program.
Is it called the American Barbecue Showdown?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing! And the influence for the streamer showdown. That's where I came up with the idea.
Just added it.
Yeah, very
absolutely. Good. Watching it in 4K, I've never seen tenderloins so crisp. Let me tell you. Oh,
my mouth is watering thinking about it.
Unbelievable.
Joe,
me and Elle watch that periodically.
Oh, nice. It is good. I have to admit. To be fair, I'm like I said, foodie. I'll watch anything. There was some documentary about the oldest barbecue lady in Oklahoma or something I watched. Yeah, I watched some random stuff. Joe, I saw on your Snapchat about Don't Fuck With Cats. Was that good or not?
It wasn't me, mate. That was my missus. I come home and she was watching it.
I've seen it.
Not as good as the day before, because the day before I walked in and she was watching The Queen's Gambit, and I like that. That was very, very good. But yeah, Don't Fuck With Cats. Weren't really that interested. I remember she was watching The Social Dilemma, I think, when I come home tonight. So I don't know if that's any good. It was literally on the end credits, so I didn't get a chance to see that.
I started watching it and didn't finish it. With the Don't Fuck With Cats thing, it's bizarre, by the way. Like, it's... Just quick, do you mind if I go on, just tell you what it is? I don't know if anyone's talking about it.
I think we did Second Yellow Card talk about
this. Yeah, that's why I did it.
The very, I won't say what happens, but the very, very end, it's like very, like the way they make you feel about it is really awkward and made me angry. But I won't say why. But it was about a story. You might remember this. I'm going to reference something, which is a part of it. It's about the guy. Do you remember about 10 years ago, went around social media where there was a snake that ate a cat? Like a python, like a massive python.
Videos,
there was like outrage that it was being put online. It was on like Facebook and YouTube, and it was about this guy, and it's about that guy who made all of that happen.
I feel like that was what the internet was made for.
It's like it's a pretty dreadful. I think it's 3 episodes. They're about sort of 90 minutes to an hour long. Don't watch it. Actually, I'll tell you. Don't watch it. It's not good. It's not a recommendation. Avoid it at all costs.
I've got my Falling Asleep series at the moment, because I always have like some American show that I'll just put on and fall asleep to it. I'm watching Parks and Recreation, and the only reason I say that, the theme tune is So You Ben.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course.
Yeah, it could be an intro to one of your series, definitely.
It's been under consideration with the copyright. You can't get it past the lawyers. It's a nightmare. I've been watching The Office recently.
Which
UK
one?
Office.
Oh, okay.
UK.
American.
If you've not seen the UK, get back on that. I'm just looking through things I've seen now. Suits, one of my
So
favourite things to watch.
we're
Oh,
rewatching
Suits is
Suits
amazing.
at the moment. So.
Yeah, love Suits. Breaking Bad, obviously a classic. In terms of films,
Season 3 onwards.
what Suits?
No, Breaking
Oh,
Bad.
Breaking Bad.
Season 3 onwards.
What you say? Skip the
first two
first two
seasons.
seasons.
Well, it's
You're not
like
a
if you
fan?
started watching Breaking Bad, if someone hasn't seen it, I love it, mate. Absolutely.
I've
I've
never seen
rewatched it a few times. But if you started watching it and you think this is a bit slow, you kind of have to persevere. Season 1 and season 2 are a bit slow. If you're binge watching, and you're going, oh, this is a bit, just fast forward a little bit. You won't really miss a lot, and they always catch up at the beginning of the episodes anyway. But you get to season 3, and that's when shit gets real.
The amount of people I've spoke to that said they binned it off in like season 2. I'm like, no. You were just getting there. You were just getting
Gustavo
there.
Fring comes into play, and that's it. It all kicks off.
I don't know how you get time to watch all this stuff.
I watched it 7 years ago, dude.
Okay.
So I've been catching up. The big film I'd recommend, the big film. Don't say the big film, and it's called The Big Short. I don't know if you've all seen The Big
very
Short.
good. Very good.
But absolutely love The Big Short. It's about the financial crisis of 2008. But it's Steve Carell is in it. Ryan Gosling's in it. What's his name? Who was Batman? Oh, I forget. It's Christian Bale.
Which
is in it.
Batman?
Christian Bale, Batman.
Michael
But
Keaton.
all those three in it and play 3 very different roles. But it reminded me a lot of Moneyball. So if you've seen Moneyball and you like that sort of thing, the way it's shot, the way it's sort of put together is a little bit like that. In the fact that there's like 3 different. You remember in Moneyball, there's like 3 different stories going on in with his child, the team, and then the way he is with like the guys who are sort of the older lot, basically. And it's a little bit like that. There's almost like 3 stories going on all at once, but it's very, very good. Recommend.
Nice.
The Big Short.
Good, nice.
Matt, did you say anything? Or?
I think we've probably covered enough.
You covered? Okay, super.
Now, our rest will run out of recommendations for the rest of them.
We've still got 18 episodes left.
We have still got a lot, and I'm trying. I'm learning to start watching things at night, and then I fall asleep. And I watched 4 minutes of something last night on Channel 5. It was really good. The 4 minutes I watched, it was really good. It was.
It's on Channel 5, and I don't know why. I don't really want to know why it lasted 4 minutes.
I just want to see. The old lady. She was an old lady. Anne Widdecombe goes to prison. It's called, and it's about this Norwegian prison. It's maximum security, but it's like they give them proper lives and like little hotel rooms and suites, and like the area and the prisoners that have left have got the lowest crime committing rate, or whatever the right word is to use. And it's very interesting for 4 minutes, but I did record and I'll watch it later. So there's another 4 minutes.
Another recommendation. You've sparked something there.
Yeah.
Have you seen the program where I think it's on Netflix where normal people in America go into a prison?
I've seen it in Gogglebox.
Like a high. I can't think of that. A high something prison. I can't think of the phrase.
Maximum security.
Maximum security prison, but they have to like almost convince the inmates that they're not like just regular people who've got into prison. It's not even like a game show. It's just that classic sort of American. What will happen if we do this?
Well, they don't win anything, do they? Like, it's not like
I don't think they get. I don't know. I don't know what the conclusion was, but I remember watching it years ago, and then it's just appeared on Netflix, and it's a bit mad.
It sounds like the American version of what would Virgil van Dijk be like in The Conference.
It's
To a degree.
So there's one on Amazon at the moment called The Jail, 60 Days In, where 7 innocent volunteers are sent to Indiana Clark County Jail. So there you go.
Yeah, I think it is that. I think it's 60 Days In.
60 Days In. There you go.
Yeah. Right.
Tremendous. I mean, you've kind of brushed upon it earlier because you said you don't commute, but is there any podcasts you like listening to, Ben?
I used to be. See, it's bad to say this really. I used to be a huge fan of the Football Ramble, and then they did 7 a week or 6 a week, and I find it really difficult to keep up with all of them.
You can't commit.
Despite
so
what
you don't listen to any of them. Yeah.
That's it. That's literally what's happened. I've used to listen to it regularly from 2008-9ish when they first started, every single week. Didn't miss one, and would like go back and listen to old ones that I used to really like listening to. And now I very rarely do. Now it's very much I listen to podcasts that I listen to this every day, boys. To be honest, I've listened to all these. Listen to your 5-star stuff as well, of course, with the Football Manager stuff. I'm trying to think. Like I listen to esports podcasts occasionally, things like that. Things that I have interest in that I don't follow regularly, but want to keep up with. I find podcasts are really good for that. There's one called By the Numbers, with 2 sort of esports legends that do that I listen to regularly. Yeah, aside from that, I sort of dip into like the Joe Rogan and Jack Mate, and I heard you mention What's Good recently, Deep as well. Like, I listen to that every now and again.
That's quite an easy listen, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, especially with the YouTube stuff, right? You tend to then stick with what's going on without having to watch like 50 videos of what's actually going on. Yeah, so I tend to sort of tune into those periodically. I won't listen to every single one, but if there's like the clip channels are great, right? Because then you just watch a 20-minute clip from it, and you're like, oh, I feel like I've watched all of that now. Perfect.
I love the I'm well into the Pokemon stuff at the moment. So Randy at the moment is like one of my favorite YouTubers, just because I love watching the Pokemon stuff. So I quite like him on that. What's Good is good. Joe, anything new today? Podcasts are tough because
no.
I will say one thing though.
I was gone.
I'm just going to cut in there. I listened to the first 20 minutes of my first MotoGP one, and I like it. Yeah. I think that could.
I recommended you the good one. Because
Okay.
I listened to on the way home. It took me 2 hours to get home. So what was I listening to? I listened to yesterday's Price of Football, which we speak about quite a lot.
That
and
was
then
was that the interview one
it was the one with the Chester
guy,
FC guy, yeah.
Which is good because Wrexham had
then,
just done their business, hadn't they? So it was actually quite a good podcast. That was a good interview, really.
It was all right. And then actually another MotoGP one, Paddock Pass, it's called. I was listening to that on the way home as well.
Okay.
But I was going to say, if you get a backlog of podcasts, Ben, because I know you're saying like you don't commute anywhere, just going back to what we started this conversation about, like, why don't you just get Dougie in the pushchair, stick a podcast on, go for a walk?
Times two it. You get two in at once.
It is true.
You could literally double bubble. Like, you can catch up on content, like
Give
consume
Al a
it,
rest,
and
and
have a
you'll
walk.
think you're being a hero, and you're just catching up on the 5-star pod and everything.
Just go. You spoke to me before how like the first thing
No.
you do is like get a laptop or get the iPad out and start looking at your emails and stuff.
Yeah.
Well, why not go right? The first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go out. I'm going to have a walk, get some fresh air, and then I'll get on the iPad.
I'll have to, because I have to find a new podcast, boys, because the 5-star pod, I make ours, we all listen to that. We all gather around at dinner and have that on. So
On the radio.
I'll have to get it. But yeah, you are right, Joe. That's the sort of
Put
I need to get
the fans on.
I need to find the routine. I've got this is going to sound horrendous now. I've got an exercise bike in the conservatory. Terrible, isn't
Yeah, but it's in the conservatory. Who goes in there?
All the boxes that we've had.
Mine's in the garage, mate.
It's got the
every time
piled
you,
up on
like,
it.
we've just got a new cot and a new cupboard for the bedroom for him.
But the thing
For him. See, I'm annoyed by him already. For him, and all those boxes have got in there. Everything goes in there. I've got a clothesline in there. It's a nightmare.
I go in the garage and Ted will say, "Can I go on that bike?" I'm like, "Mate, I don't go on it, so no, you're not going on it."
It's about the path of least resistance, though. Like, Sheridan's trying to build her Instagram up, and she had all of the photography stuff downstairs in the dining room because it was the easiest place to control light, etc. And there's more space. But she just wouldn't do it because it's even though it's just downstairs, it's still an extra step to have to cart everything down there to do it. So I just said, why don't you just buy a little table, shove it in your office, and then it's literally there. You just turn the light on, take a photo, and you're done for the day.
This is for the sweets, Matt.
Yeah, and since she's done that, she's taken a photo every day.
What's the what company is she made done, Matt?
Don't have to promote everything.
Matt, I love plugs, so when I'm host, we're all plugging, mate.
All right, okay. It's
Does she want to sponsor the show? Because she could. For free, probably, based on the work you've done, Matt. It'd be easy for us.
Be probably cheaper.
possibly.
As we talk about Streamer Showdown, I am just glossing over you with your podcast there, Matt. But as we talk about Streamer Showdown, any particular season you like to watch there, Ben?
Some of them have been dreadful from my perspective.
Same.
I think I've got a lot of love for the first one, which is weird because we didn't have a lowdown for the first one, but the first one I spent the entirety giving Kev Lelujo stick, and then for him to beat me on penalties in the final was arguably the perfect way to have the first one go. And I think that one then carried momentum into all the future ones, which was actually quite important. Like, I think that first one being what it was, and then the fact we've been able to sort of crescendo it into what it is now. Having guys like Spencer and Manny and James Alcott and the other guys that aren't regular Football Manager guy, FNG is another like great example. Having those boys involved in them was just like a thrill for us all. I feel like everyone just enjoyed having people that we don't normally interact with be very much involved in what we were doing and give a shit about it, right? That was a big thrill for me. There have been some really good games, but generally, like, I love everything I've been involved with. I've really enjoyed doing it. which I think is really important. So like, I can't pick other than the first one where I think it just went well and then set us up nicely for the rest of them. I think they've all had their moments, right? Which I think you can't always say for something. Sometimes you watch a World Cup and you're like, oh, it's not been so good. But every showdown has always had a moment in it that we can pinpoint as, yeah, that was pretty sick.
I remember watching the first showdown final in a tent in my back garden with my son because it was lockdown. We couldn't do anything for his birthday, so we did a little camp out in the back garden. And I remember watching I don't think we got to the penalty shootouts, but I remember like watching the first leg, and I had the phone up and my AirPod in, and my little boy just taps me on the shoulder and goes, Daddy, it's night time now. You need to turn your iPad off, because that's what we do to him. So I couldn't even watch it. I had to catch up later.
I wish Kev had turned his PC off. That was annoying. Furious.
Yeah, I mean it's been tremendous, and I mean as a member of the community, I think we all very grateful for the showdown, and yeah, keep up the good work with that, mate.
Yeah, then I will say that the first one of the new season FM 21 version is set to be pretty good. So I'm going to big it up, even though Matt's looking at me now thinking, don't say it's going to be great. Don't say it's going to, but it is going to be really good.
Any exclusive for the pod?
I'm confident.
Yeah, Matt's got a generator.
We'll probably have a sponsor.
Will we be on FM 21?
It will, yeah. I hope so. I mean, okay. Let's hope so. Let's hope so.
Let's not cash checks that we can't. Yeah, right.
The alternative
beta, do report your bugs.
Yeah, the alternative is we go backwards. We go to FM 16 and bring about the retros. That's the only way we do it. But if all goes to plan, it'll be good and it'll be on the new game. And if it's not, they can expect some angry videos and emails. So
not gonna lie,
let's hope it goes too well.
That's not a terrible idea. Going back to play some random games, set it instead of setting leagues.
But it might be difficult because there's a lot of them that aren't actually, unless you own them already, you can't go back and buy them.
Well,
they're not, you can't even activate. You can't activate on
there you
games.
go. Subutio. Just go back and play that.
If it means
go around people's houses after lockdown.
We'll do it as part of the badminton weekend. It's a movie version.
Turn it into a triathlon.
Right.
That'd be embarrassing when we don't make the third event between us. Just one person playing chess on his own. Terrible.
It'll be Jack.
It will be Jack.
Were you inviting Jack?
Oh, no, Jack will want it. The deciding event to be bloody Blades. So.
Oh yeah.
Any other business before we round off? Anyone got anything else to add? Any delight from the day? Any anecdotes? No.
Fuck traffic.
Fuck traffic. Oh. That's a big anecdote. I like
Agreed.
that. Yeah, I saw the Snapchat. Fuck traffic. And that wasn't even the traffic jam you were in. So crazy. Okay, so that does actually bring episode. Oh, actually, one place. Ben, where can we find you, mate?
Mainly at the moment, twitch.tv/. Usually I don't plug this, so I will today. Yeah. Twitch.tv/DoctorBenjy, YouTube.com/DoctorBenjyFM, at DoctorBenjy on Twitter, all the places. And if you haven't already, follow the Showdown on Twitter and on Twitch, FM Streamer Showdown, or the FM Showdown on either platform.
Sounds a little bit rehearsed. No problem. So that does bring episode number 10 to a close. We'll be doing one of these every single day during lockdown. So please, if you have any questions you want us to touch upon in future episodes, hit them in the comments and we'll do our best to reply to everyone. You can also email us at info@westreamfm.com if you want to reach out in private. We are in no way professionals when it comes to mental health, so please use the links in the description below. We'll see you all tomorrow. Say goodbye, folks.
Goodbye, folks.
Goodbye, folks.
My question for tomorrow's episode is, what's been your biggest influence while creating content online?
See you all tomorrow.
Deep.
Deep.